It was very complicated, but he wandered around different parts of the Soviet Union trying to get to Vilna, because a word on the street was that if you were a Bundist, you might be able to get an exit visa abroad to Brazil or to Argentina or to somewhere away from the war. But the borders closed, and he never made it across. In any event, he was gathered up along with all the people that is crossed from Poland by the Russian police. And they did something that in retrospect seems so typically Russian. They asked these people whether they wanted to maintain their Polish citizenship or whether they wanted to accept a Soviet citizenship. Now, the great majority of the people didn't want Soviet citizenship. Certainly my father didn't want it. He was not a communist. And they didn't know how long the war would last. They thought, well, maybe a few months, a short time, we'll go back home. So, of course, they said no. Most people said no. My mother was one of those people who said no. She had a similar path. And the Soviet authorities said, okay, you can go. They released them. That same night, they came back with dogs and police, because now they had their address where they were staying, and they arrested them. They arrested them, and they sent them to gulags. My father was sent to a gulag way north of Moscow, and my mother was sent to a gulag in Siberia, to extremely harsh conditions.
And then how did they meet in Kyrgyzstan?
And at some point during the war, the date escapes me at the moment, but Stalin made an agreement with the Polish government in exile, which was based in London at the time, to release the Polish prisoners. Because I think there was the expectation that they would join the Soviet army to fight the Nazis. So they released them from gulags, and since the gulag conditions were so horrible, not mostly, but one of the features of their imprisonment was that they were in very, very cold climates. They were frozen, they had no clothes, they had no shoes, and all these people, all they wanted to do is to warm up, and they wanted to go as far south where it was warm as possible. Well, of course, on the west, the war was still raging, so there was really not many options, but they wanted to go south. And in a very, very long, arduous, painful trek, they made their way as far as Kyrgyzstan, where, they were at the foothills of the Himalayas. They couldn't cross the mountains, so that's where they stopped. That was their last stop on their trek towards warmth. And that's where they met.